Please join me in prayer. As we just breathe into this moment and this time, we do so knowing that there is a presence that is with us everywhere, all the time. We know this because we are reminded when we look outside and we see the sky and the trees and the plants. As we listen to the voices of those that we love, all of these things are reminders to us of that power, that presence, that God in all things. And what I know today is that I also know that each one of us has this presence within us, has this power, this resource, if you will, within each of us that guides us and guards us and directs us and supports us. And so we can just breathe into this space and relax into this knowing that we were always protected, and allow ourselves to just move into this time and be fully present and let go of every other distraction. Allowing this time to be just for us as we listen, as we contemplate and look for ideas and messages that can support us in our life. I call this time perfect. I call it good. I call it blessed, and I call it complete. I simply let this go, knowing it is already done. And so it is. I have a quote from Joseph Campbell. "We must be willing to let go of the life we planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us." We've been talking about a lot of things regarding the unknown. And still, so many of us have that desire to plan things out and put together guidelines and specifics for our lives. And we fail to see that when something comes and shifts us and moves us forward into something else, that we must let go of where we thought we were going and embrace where we are headed. When I was a child, I had ideas of what I was going to be when I grew up. And then for many years, I decided I was going to be a doctor. And then one day I didn't want to be a doctor anymore. And then I didn't know what I wanted to be. And then I had all these other ideas. And letting go of some of those ideas is a good thing when we are facing something new and something different. Today we are talking about stepping up, stepping out. So being able to lift ourselves up into this place, into this moment, and taking that next step to the new reality that we choose. And I invite you to consider all of the things, well, maybe not all of them, but many of the things that you've learned on this life journey. What has life taught you? What have you learned that you are carrying with you into every new moment? What will you share with the people that come into your life and want to travel a portion of it with you? What are the stories that you want to tell? What are the things that you wish to share? Consider what that is about. And consider that we have this mindset, we have this idea of where we're going, and we may even have the idea of how we're going to get there. And then the earth shifts beneath our feet. We did not plan for 2020 to show up the way it did. I don't believe any one of us had the idea that it was going to come forth the way it did. And I remember a little over a year ago when we were in community at the Radisson Hotel, and we walked away on a Sunday, and the next day the world basically shut down around us. And now here we are a little over a year later. I had no idea, I don't think any of us did, of where we were going to be and what the timing for all of that was going to be. But it doesn't mean that we have to consider we're stuck. We don't have to stay in that space, in that place. We can move forward, we can step up, and we can step out. It's so interesting to look at how we think, how our minds wrap around certain ideas and thoughts and processes and behaviors. And I have a little story I want to share with you. I've told it for years as a trainer, and it's about a little boy. He's 8 years old, and his name is Joey. And Joey has a best friend whose name is Tim. And one Saturday morning, Joey leaps out of bed, and he's excited because today he's got a project. He's got something he's going to work on, and he just has to run down to Tim's house real quick and borrow Tim's wheelbarrow. So Joey gets up and he grabs some breakfast, and he's dressed and he's out the door, and Tim only lives a couple of houses away. And he's walking down the street, and he's pretty excited because he's going to go see his best friend Tim, and he's going to borrow his wheelbarrow. And all of a sudden, he gets this thought, and he stops for a second and he says, well, what if I get to Tim's house and he's not home? He didn't tell me he was going to go anywhere. He's my best friend after all. I mean, if he's going to go somewhere on a Saturday, he should have told me. And he starts to get a little bit of an attitude. And he kind of sways his shoulders a little bit, and he shuffles along, and he keeps walking, and then another thought shows up. And this thought is, what if I get to Tim's house and somebody else is there and some other friend is hanging out with Tim? He's my best friend, how dare he? And now he's really copying an attitude. And he starts kicking stones, and he starts stomping his feet a little bit, and he's almost to Tim's house, and another thought comes up. What if I get to Tim's house, the guy that's supposed to be my best friend, and he won't let me borrow his wheelbarrow? Oh my goodness, how could he be so rude? How could he be so mean to me? And now he's stomping. And he walks up to the door, and he pounds on the front door, and Tim opens the door, and he's like, hey, Joey! And Joey punches him. That, my friends, is an example of what our minds can do, of how we can create all these beautiful, intricate little stories, and we can make stuff up, and then we react to them when none of it was even the truth. We know in this philosophy an amazing phrase. We say it over and over again, and it was brought to us by our founder in this particular context, Ernest Holmes. Change your thinking, change your life. Change your thinking, change your life. Joey changed his thinking from the moment he walked out the door. Unfortunately, he changed it in the wrong direction. And I look back over my life at how many times I had an expectation or a thought that someone did something because of, and found out later that none of it was even the truth. And so I want us to look at this because changing our thinking is an incredible part of the process. You can choose to be upset, or you can choose not to. You can choose to hold on to the past. You can choose to say that COVID was just the beginning and something else is coming and it's going to be worse or whatever. You can choose that, or you can choose a completely different experience. Sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? Well, it's not. That's why we have these teachings. That's why we have our classes. That's why we talk about practice. Because the more we practice in that adjustment of our thinking, the better things are, the more easily we can look at it from a different perspective, and we can move forward. Change is huge. I talk about it a lot, and sometimes I think I make it sound like it's such a simple thing to adapt, to adjust, to a change. And it's not. It's really big. And to shift this wonderful organ in our heads, that this wonderful computer, if you will, that has all of these belief systems and all of these ideas and has proof from the past. It can pull a record from the past, a tape, and replay it for you and let you know that isn't it going to work? Isn't going to work this time because it didn't work last time. It's tough to change that, but it's not impossible. It is absolutely possible. Brené Brown has a book out called Braving the Wilderness. And I wouldn't normally do this in this type of a context, but I'm going to bring this to you today because she has the word braving in the title of her book, and she has made it into an acronym. And I just want to share with you what the words, the letters from the word braving mean. Because this helps us with that shift, helps us with moving into the unknown and into recognizing how to change our thinking. The letter B stands for boundaries. Not only the boundaries that I set, but the boundaries that I honor in respect of others. The letter R stands for reliability, that I can be reliable. If I say I'm going to do something, that I do it. And if I cannot do it, that I make arrangements to restructure that promise, that commitment. A stands for accountability. Accountability is where I live from that place of knowing that everything I do contributes to everything that happens in my life. I don't have to blame anyone. I don't have to look for the bad guy. I don't have to look for someone to be angry with. I can be accountable and know that I have contributed. And not to the point of putting blame back on me, but into knowing, well, you know what? I took that turn back there, and I was thinking I should have gone the other way, and I get to be accountable for that, and now I get to adjust. That's what I'm talking about with accountability. The letter V stands for vault. Vault is about honoring the people in our lives and keeping their confidences. When someone shares something with you and they don't want it to be shared with anyone else, that you honor that. It's so easy for us to find out a bit of information and feel a little bit of power about it, and then we can't wait till we can share it with somebody else. That's not what this is about. This is about holding that context, holding that confidence. The letter I stands for integrity. Making the best right decision in every situation. To know what your value system is all about and to honor those values always. And to not allow yourself to be compromised. Acting from that place of integrity. The letter N stands for non-judgment. We can learn so much from this all the time, is to let go of judging. Judging self. Judging others, judging a circumstance or a situation, moving towards letting that go and just moving back in that place of allowing. And then the letter G stands for generosity. Because when we step into that place of generosity, that we can give and that we can flourish and we can support others and we can give to others, then our life just begins to expand. And our hearts just kind of blossom open. And it's a beautiful sensation. It's a beautiful feeling. Braving the wilderness. Or as we've been talking this month, braving the unknown. Are you willing? Are you willing to take that step? Are you willing to take that stand for yourself and your life? Thich Nhat Hanh says, enlightenment for a wave in the ocean is the moment the wave realizes it is water. We are all part of one human entity. We are all part of humankind, each one of us, and we are all connected. Every single one of us connected one to another. So let's look at becoming enlightened and recognizing that we are part of the whole. It's not just about my world. It's not just about me. It's about all of us, all of creation. As we take these next steps, as we plan the next phase of our journey, what do you wish to take with you? Make a concerted decision as to what that's going to be. What is it going to feel like? And what are you going to leave behind? And how is that going to feel? Because there's a lot of things that have come forth in our lives up until this point, and we don't need them. We no longer need them. We may have outgrown them. A question to consider this week is, if I was living my life fully, if everything was unfolding exactly as I choose, what would I be doing? What type of people would I be interacting with? What would I be creating every day? How would my energy be when I wake up every morning? And how would my energy be when I get ready to go to bed at night, or whatever time of day you go to get rest? What would it feel like? What would it look like? What would it be? I invite you to think of 3 things this week. 3 things that you can do that will support you in changing your thinking. Just 3. You don't have to come up with them all today. You can come up with them throughout the week. A week is 7 days last time I checked. So you have 7 days to come up with this mindset that what is it? What are those habitual behaviors that you constantly turn to where you make a snap decision or you create a story in a moment where you could pause, step back, and change your thinking? Our world is opening up again, and it is time for us to share our good. It is time for us to plan the future. It is time for us to step up and step out into a brand new world and a brand new idea. We are called to be brave. We are called to take action. And we are called to step up and step out. Please pray with me. As we just breathe into this time in this space and know that the month of April has just come and is coming to a close, we want to remember now, just as we did 4 weeks ago, that Spirit is present, that God has been present through all of this, every single day, every single moment. Whether I remember to call on that power or not, it has been here. And this is the truth for each and every one of us. So what we know right here and right now is we know that God is good. We know that the divine energy in all things supports us and helps us create something new and gives us the strength and the energy and the boldness to move forward in life. And so knowing this, I know that each and every one of us is blessed. We are connected because we all come from the same source. And in this connection, we are able to support one another. We're able to start turning our attention back to community in the live format. And how can we get there? And what do we wish to create? And what do we choose to leave behind? And so this week and this day and this moment, I know all are blessed. I know all are blessed by God. All is perfect and all is unfolding in absolute divine perfection. I give thanks. I give thanks for this time together. I give thanks for this opportunity. I give thanks for this knowledge of who we are and all that is. I send blessings of love and light to all people everywhere. I send blessings of comfort to those who need it. I call it good and I call it perfect. And I simply release these words onto the law of mind, knowing that my word is spoken and it is heard, as is the truth for each and every one of us. And universal wisdom moves forward knowing and hearing our request, our affirmations. So we just let it go. We let it go. There's nothing more we need to do in this moment, but let it be and let God. And so it is.